The Kremlin has played down talk of an imminent summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, as Donald Trump renewed his call for the two leaders to meet to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. The push for a bilateral meeting comes after the U.S. president met Putin in Alaska last week and welcomed 7 European leaders and Zelensky to the White House on Monday. Trump admitted the conflict was a, quote, tough one to solve, and conceded it was possible the Russian president was not interested in ending hostilities. "We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks," he said on Tuesday. "It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal." Putin faced a rough situation if that were the case, Trump added, without offering any details. Trump suggested it will be better if Putin and Zelensky met without him in an interview with conservative radio talk show host Mark Levin late on Tuesday night. He added that he would attend a meeting with the two leaders if necessary, but wanted to, quote, see what happens. The Russian president told Trump on Monday that he was open to the idea of direct talks with Ukraine, but the next day, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov watered down that already vague commitment. Any meeting would have to be prepared, quote, gradually, starting with the expert level and thereafter going through all the required steps, he said, repeating a frequent Kremlin line. Dmitry Polyansky, a Russian deputy representative to the UN, told the BBC nobody had rejected the opportunity for direct talks, but it shouldn't be a meeting for the sake of a meeting. NATO's military chiefs are expected to hold a virtual meeting on Wednesday, while the UK's military chief, Admiral Tony Radakin, is traveling to Washington for discussions on the deployment of a reassurance force in Ukraine. It was reported on Tuesday that Putin had suggested to Trump that Zelensky could travel to Moscow for talks, something Ukraine was never likely to accept. The proposal may have been Russia's way of putting forward an option so far-fetched Kiev could not possibly have agreed to it. Talks over the last few days appear to have given Trump a renewed understanding of the complexities of the war and the gulf between Moscow's demands and Kiev's position. The much-vaunted ceasefire he said he could get Putin to agree to has not materialized, and now the U.S. president has said Ukraine and Russia should move directly to a permanent peace deal instead, but some headway was made in terms of security guarantees for Ukraine. Zelensky and European leaders seem to have convinced Trump that such commitments would be paramount to Kiev's sovereignty in the event of a peace deal. On Tuesday, Trump said the U.S. was willing to help the Europeans by air if they provided boots on the ground in Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire or peace deal, although he ruled out deploying U.S. troops. The U.S. president, however, did not go into the specifics of whether such air support may entail intelligence or the use of fighter jets and warplanes. While Trump's commitments remain vague, the France and UK-led Coalition of the Willing said it had been working to firm up plans for a reassurance force that could be sent to Ukraine if the hostilities end. After a virtual meeting of the group on Tuesday, a Downing Street spokesperson said the group would meet U.S. counterparts in the coming days to, quote, further strengthen plans to deliver robust security guarantees. Following his summit with Putin and latest talks with Zelensky, Trump now appears to think direct talks between Ukraine and Russia could bring a peace deal closer, although he acknowledged there had been, quote, tremendous bad blood between the two leaders. The last time they met was in 2019. Since then, Moscow's war on Kyiv has resulted in tens of thousands of casualties, as well as widespread destruction and ongoing aerial attacks on civilian targets. Putin considers Zelensky illegitimate and views him as responsible for Ukraine's growing proximity to the West. For years now, he has made baseless claims about Kyiv being ruled by a, quote, neo-Nazi regime, and has said any ceasefire with Ukraine would need to entail a change in Kyiv's leadership. Russia also has little interest in agreeing to talks while its troops have the upper hand on the front line. Still, European leaders and Zelensky have spoken in favor of the idea of a bilateral meeting. The Ukrainian president said on Monday that he was open to any format of meeting Putin, while the Europeans have been putting forward ideas for potential summit locations. By enthusiastically supporting direct talks, they are likely hoping to convince Trump to revert to a tougher stance against Moscow, should Putin remain unwilling to take steps to end the war.